Welcome to art school, class. Today, we're learning about color. Player housing in World of Warcraft has introduced a dye system to the game. For some of your housing decor items, the possibilities are endless. Or at least, if not endless, with items having a maximum of 3 dye slots and 62 possible dyes, your furniture can be dyed in 186 possible combinations. If you caught my last video on housing tips, you'll know I gave you a place to start when thinking about things like layout and density and lighting for your home. There's one big category I left off that list: color. That was mostly because Alpha at the time didn't have dyes implemented. Also because if I was going to be talking about color and interior design, it might have doubled the length of the video. Also because it felt a little too mean to dunk on Mr. GM's entirely blue room from Gamescom as my only B-roll footage. But now dyes are fully functional, and housing has gone live for everyone. The subject of color shall be neglected no longer. Are you plagued by undyed furniture? Do you want to know how to master dyeing in an artful way? Do you want to banish the curse of the blue couch? Do you want to unlock the full potential of your circular woolen rugs? Well, keep watching. Yes, you have been drafted into art school. Congratulations! Fun fact, many years ago, I too went to actual factual art school and had the chance to take color theory as a class, and I didn't. The supply list was too expensive. They wanted you to paint with real oil paint from a tube? Where's the undo button? Where's the eyedropper tool? So yes, technically I never formally learned color theory, but in researching this video, I am correcting a blind spot in my art education. As I expected way back then, color theory is something that you can kind of pick up on intuitively. For interior design specifically, there are just a few rules that you can keep in mind to help your living space in World of Warcraft go from this to this. And it's okay, if you're not an advanced housing sicko like the rest of us, we're gonna go slow. We're gonna start at the beginning. First, we must ask ourselves, what is a dye? In World of Warcraft player housing, some items are dyeable. The vast majority of these are items that are from the rugged, folk, and elegant furniture families. Going forward, the devs have said new decor assets will be dyeable. However, since we've seen a lot of midnight scenery not in the dye system, I think it's more accurate to say that item models specifically created for neighborhoods and housing will be dyeable. You dye decor by using the Customize button in the Edit House UI. Don't make my mistakes and click on the paintbrush, I mean broom icon. Am I the only one that makes this mistake? Comment below if you too accidentally end up deleting your decor when you think you're going to go dye it. In Customize mode, you can click on applicable pieces of furniture and the dye interface will appear. This will show you how many dye slots an item has. Most have between 1 and 3. On this couch, you'll have a dye slot for the wood, the metal, and the cloth. On this rug, you'll have a slot for the 2 pattern colors. Some items will have areas that aren't dyeable, like the beads on this rug will always be blue. The marble on this fireplace will always be white, and the rugged items retain much of their original stone, bone, and leather textures, for example. The dyeable areas won't lose their textures, so metal will continue to look somewhat like metal no matter what color you put on it. It's highly situational, but you should take the sheen, reflectivity, wood grain, or fabric texture into account when dyeing decor. The Customize interface lets you preview what the item will look like with your chosen dyes. If you have enough of that dye in your inventory, you can apply it. Yes, this means you need to buy or craft consumable dyes for every instance of color you want to add. If you've got 4 bookshelves to dye, you need 4 dye items in your inventory. Dyes come from scribes and alchemists. First, they need to obtain the correct herbs that correspond to the color they want to make. Then the herbs are milled into pigments at a ratio of 10 to 1. Then, you can take that color pigment and make a specific dye from it. 1 pigment equals 1 dye. This might sound like a lot of herbs, but there are ways to farm this with minimal effort. There are methods like the Garrison Herb Farm.
No, I won't be doing that.
Great, you know how to make your dyes, but what colors should you make? Let's talk about colors. I have absolutely no source for this, but I heard an adage once that the average American adult has like a 3rd grade art education level, so again, we're gonna go back to the basics. This is the visible spectrum of light that you can see with your eyes, if you're not colorblind, of course. Did you know that humans can see more green hues than any other color? It's probably from all the leaves that we had to eat when we were in monkey mode. From the visible spectrum, these are all the colors that can be replicated on a digital screen. These are all the colors that can be replicated in print. These are all the colors put on a wheel, and these are all the colors categorized into 12 main hues. Colors, or hues, can be organized into tints, shades, and tones. A tint is when a hue is mixed with white. A shade is when a hue is mixed with black. A tone is when a hue is mixed with gray. It's also important to divide these color wheels into warm and cool colors. The warm colors are on the red, orange, yellow side of the wheel, and the cool colors are on the green, blue, purple side. Why is this relevant to WoW housing? Stay with me now. Here are the 62 WoW housing dye colors mapped onto these tints, shades, and tones. These swatches aren't a perfect representation because they're lifted from the customization UI. The game actually calculates these as values on these gradients applied to texture maps, but you get the gist. I'll push all of these to be their brightest hue and then shrink them so we can see them on the wheel easier. What do we see on here? First, there's big areas of the color wheel that aren't captured in the current dye system. Maybe we'll get more in the future, but we can also see that every single one of these colors falls within a hue. Some of them are obvious and some of them are harder to figure out. For example, Highborn Marble has an orange hue, Bone White has a yellow hue, and Silver Sage Green is closer to yellow than it is green. I'm sure you're asking, how can we know for sure? I'll tell you. An eyedropper tool can locate what color hue each of these correspond to. You can find eyedropper tools online that can help you out if you have questions about where a tint, shade, or tone belongs. Another thing to note is that if each dye can be sorted within a hue, they can also be sorted according to color temperature. If we're talking about temperature, we should also start talking about color mood. As you might expect, using warmer colors creates a cozier environment in your space. Cooler colors, on the other hand, are peaceful and serene, or chilly and mysterious. But how else can we use colors to create a mood? Rather than temperature, you can also pick colors based on saturation. The dye system gives us a couple high saturated colors that we can use. These are the ones placed on the outside of the color wheels because they are closer to true hues, not lightened or darkened or mixed with gray. If you use these, you'll create a loud, striking, and energetic space. This is just my personal taste, but I think some of these more saturated colors are almost too vibrant for WoW, which is funny considering that WoW is full of colors, and that's what I love about it. However, compared to the rest of the asset catalog, these are so intense, especially under certain lighting situations, that, I would prefer to use something a little bit more desaturated to make it look like it fits within the game. Not saying you shouldn't use them, but, use them judiciously or go wild. It's your house, do whatever you want with it. Luckily, the dye system has plenty more tones and shades on offer that mix hues with black or gray to get more desaturated colors. These can be used to create a more stately, demure, or weathered environment. RPers, I know you love your drab aesthetics for your more down-to-earth character fantasies. Eat your heart out. By the way, if you're curious how to get colored walls like this, the circular woolen rug trick is one way, but you can also use the backside of bookcases to create a wood paneling or shiplap effect. This feels a little bit more Warcrafty in my opinion, since we're used to seeing painted textures in the world rather than a flat plane of color on the walls and surfaces like you get with the circular woolen rug. But again, it's your house. Do with it what you will. Let's talk about lighting and color. Of course, if you've played around with the dye system at all, I'm sure you know that the colors you apply to your decor can appear wildly different thanks to the lighting you have in the room. Currently, we have access to a few different lighting colors. There's warm lighting for windows, braziers, and fireplaces, cool lighting from windows, and there's various colors that come from things like purple draenei crystals or green fell torches. If you want to use a Goldshire window in your house but don't want to be flooded by the overpowering blue light, there are a few ways to fix this. Reverse your blue light windows outwards to reduce glare. You can also clip blue and yellow lights strategically together so that they cancel each other out and create more of a white light. Lastly, there's also the Hearthlight Armillary, which is a reward you get from reaching level 6. This will apply a lighting overlay to your whole house, and the options range from subtle to overwhelming. So with all these tools at your disposal, how do you actually go about picking a color scheme? It helps to know what colors automatically look good together. Here's a couple color schemes that you can use as a guideline. Analogous colors. Let's say you want a blue room, but you don't want everything to look so samey. You can pick a few hues along the same side of the color wheel to add some variety to the space, but still make things look coordinated. Complementary colors. This refers to using colors that are on opposite sides of the color wheel. There's a reason why so many blockbuster movie posters and WoW key art pieces use blue and orange together. They're automatically eye-catching and they create a lot of contrast. Other complementary color pairs are yellow and violet. We're going to see a lot of this with Midnight's release. And red and green. Red and green doesn't need to mean making your whole house look like a Wintervale fever dream. Here's examples of how I used the warm red browns from the Belemeth flooring to match the desaturated Grave Moss green dye. Do you want more than just two colors in your build? A split complementary color scheme might be ideal for you. For this one, pick two colors close to the complementary color, but slightly apart. This will add some complexity and harmony to the build. Are you looking for more options with 3 colors? Try a triad color scheme. This way, you could try primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, or secondary colors, purple, orange, and green. This is another way to create harmonious rooms, but keep the color vibrant and engaging. If you've picked a color scheme and you're now going to apply it to your room, try to stick to the 60-30-10 rule. 60% of your room should be a primary color. 30% of your room should be a secondary color, and 10% should be an accent color. This isn't a hard and fast rule, but it'll keep your space looking balanced and ordered, and it will help people's eyes move around the space. Are you feeling overwhelmed yet? Don't worry, I have a cheat code for you. For easy mode, match your color scheme to in-game assets. Of course, you're not designing your WoW house in a vacuum. The WoW art team already knows all of these color rules and have created many aesthetics and color schemes that you can just adapt wholesale. Plus, I doubt that you'd want to fill your house with only dyeable decor pieces anyway. Matching your dyes to existing statement piece items can be a great way to get started with your house colors. Look at the color balance. Can you mirror the primary, secondary, and accent colors? What if you changed them up? What if you reversed them? What if you expanded them? What if you desaturated them? What other non-dyeable items can you add to complement them? Of course, I should mention that not every decor piece has a matching dye analog. These Proudmoore green drapes, for example, can match a number of different greens in the dye system depending on the lighting in the space. When in doubt, use a color picker to check the hue and color temperature, and check against a variety of swatches in your dye catalog to test what would work best. If you're tired of easy mode, try hard mode. Hard mode would be real-world inspiration. The housing system is so funny because interior design principles apply in WoW just like they do in real life. If you're tired of selecting aesthetics from existing WoW color schemes, you could always look for inspiration from real interior design shoots. Not all of these concepts are possible yet, but I'm so interested to see what kind of new influences people bring to their homes and the creativity this might inspire. Don't be fooled by everyone else's amazing builds. You're not too late. It's still possible to create completely mind-blowing creations that amaze and astound the community. I believe that you can make something fantastic. Anyway, do you have a favorite housing dye? Or on the flip side, do you have a housing dye that you absolutely hate? Tell us about it in the comments below. Personally, I love Grave Moss Green, and I know that people are making great builds with Nashatar Navy. And I hate Void Violet. Maybe it's because it's like halfway close to something I would use. Like it's the right hue of purple, but the saturation is crazy high. It like makes my screen vibrate. It makes my eyes bleed. Not really, but like you get it. If you like this video and want more housing tips, give this video a like and a subscribe. Check out WowKia, our community where builders are creating incredible things. We run contests in there, we have help channels, we have ways that you can connect to other neighborhoods to visit their completed endeavors, all kinds of good stuff. Anyway, I hope you all have so much fun building your houses. Goodbye!